Sandra, muito bom dia. Vou fazer uma introdução da Sandra, que agradeço desde já a sua disponibilidade e também a disponibilidade em preparar uma pequena biografia que vou ler sobre a Sandra e depois também sobre a Ecovidrio. A Sandra é engenheira agrónoma pela Universidade Politécnica de Madrid, com mestrado em Gestão Agroalimentar pelo Instituto Santelmo. Penso que será em Málaga, se não estou em erro, mas depois a Sandra corrija-me se estiver errado. E também tem uma pós-graduação em Assuntos Públicos pela Universidade Pontifícia de Comillas, em Madrid. Desenvolveu toda a sua experiência profissional ligada ao setor de consumo, especialmente na indústria alimentar e de bebidas, e nos últimos 10 anos trabalha na Ecovidrio como responsável por relações públicas, com foco no acompanhamento regulatório e na adaptação do setor às novas exigências, na participação ativa e colaboração com a administração, para além de atuar como ligação com empresas de embalagens. Aqui acrescentava também participante em webinars internacionais de partilhas de boas práticas. Sobre a Ecovidrio, é um sistema de gestão de embalagens de vidro em Espanha, que eu penso que a maioria de nós que estamos aqui conhecemos e bem, tem mais de 25 anos de experiência no setor, que graças ao compromisso das empresas de embalagens e à colaboração das administrações públicas e dos cidadãos, alcançou a marca de reciclar atualmente 7 em cada 10 embalagens de vidro, oferecendo uma resposta única às empresas no âmbito de sustentabilidade e de responsabilidade legal das suas embalagens. Muito bem. Só uma última nota. Vamos deixar agora a Sandra com a sua apresentação. Eu diria que no final a apresentação está preparada para mais ou menos 30 minutos, vai ultrapassar-se talvez um bocadinho mais dos 30 minutos, e depois teremos aqui um momento para fazermos um momento de perguntas e respostas, e vamos depois fazermos esta moderação a seguir. Por isso, deixaríamos agora só a Sandra a fazer a sua exposição. Daqui a meia hora voltamos novamente aqui ao nosso fórum. Muito bem. Sandra, muitíssimas graças. Agora é contigo a apresentação. Bem-vinda.
Bom dia. Thank you very much. Obrigada, Nuno. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's a pleasure for us to share with you our experience in best practices, especially today regarding HoReCa sector. And I hope all the information I will share with you, it's going to be useful for you. As Nuno said, I will send to you the presentation, so you will have access to all the details that this field has included. And we can have the discussion at the end, so any question you will have, it will be a pleasure also to answer. I will share my screen, so if you can confirm it. Okay, perfect. So our strategy for the present and the future of circular HoReCa in Spain. I will tell you later that HoReCa sector is, as you already know, very important for us because 50% of glass packaging is consumed in HoReCa sector. So we developed plans for this sector since many years ago, like around 20 years ago. And this strategy that we call Ecoares, we will see later on, it's one of the main lines, strategic lines for us due to this fact, the high consumption of glass packaging. We have the support for this strategy from Hostelería de España, the Spanish Federation for the HoReCa sector. And it's very important for us, this issue, because what we really consider is that different stakeholders of the chain has the responsibility to achieve the targets. I mean, this is not only an issue for Ecovidrio, it's not an issue for the public authorities, it's not an issue for the citizen, it's an issue for all of us. So it's very important, this kind of collaborations in this case. So first, or before getting in the HoReCa strategy, I would like to briefly make an introduce of Ecovidrio. to share with you some of these singularities or a key factor of success that we consider that we have and that help us to achieve our goals. Well, beginning with our value proposition, we identify like 3 main stakeholders, which are, of course, companies. They are our reason to be, ambassadors. We are a EPR specialized in glass packaging management. Is what we do. We do not manage other categories or of packaging. We are just specialized on glass packaging, but we offer the companies a solution for all kind of packagings, thanks to some kind of agreements that we have with other EPRs in charge of other categories of packaging. And this is important for us, specialization on glass, but a global solution for companies. Then regarding public authorities, what we give them is this model of trust and excellence. And we will talk a little bit about this later. And finally, in terms of society, and we talk about citizens, Oreca sector, but also association federations like Spanish Federation of Oreca, we guarantee this, that we move towards this responsible future, that we achieve objectives, that we have this kind of co-responsibility among all of us. And in terms of what makes us unique, here you can see some of these ideas that we really consider are important for us and for our performance. Well, first, we said that we are specialized. We are working on this area since more than 25 years ago, so we have some kind of experience. We offer municipalities what we call direct management. This is that instead of financing management, waste management, we offer the municipality some kind of, okay, if you want, give me this responsibility of management and I will do it. We open a public tender, but this direct management that we develop in 60% of municipalities in Spain allow us to better understand what are the necessities, what are the characteristics of the municipality, what plans are the best ones to develop, and also to react in a more faster way and give us a lot of distrust that I mentioned before from the side of the public authorities. We also have, due to the monomaterial containers, we have a very good quality of the waste that we collect. We defend that versatility is one of the main issues when we talk about waste management. There is not a unique solution to every municipality due to these characteristics that I mentioned before. So we have to adapt to different situations, and we try to really understand and to give the best solution. We are experts, or we consider that we are experts and good collaborators for Oreca. We will talk about this today. And we work a lot in what we call research, innovation, and data analysis, because when we develop a plan, for example, this one for Oreca or other ones for citizens, or when we decide to put new bulks in the street, new containers in the street, we do it based on researchers, on analysis, on the data that we have. That also, it's interesting that we have some data due to this 60% of direct management is data that we have immediately. It's not that we have to wait for the next month when municipality is able to send us the data. No, we have just in the moment that a truck collects a bulk, we have all the data of how many tons, where was it, and blah, blah, blah. So everything we do is based on analysis and on data, and we are introducing also artificial intelligence in order to design new plans in a more effective way. And then also about reputation, just well, I would like to share with you that each 2-3 years we develop some studies, some surveys on reputation, also in order to understand what the stakeholders, companies, local administrations, or national authorities, and also the value chain, what consideration they have about us. Because it is also important to identify the points where we have to improve or new lines to develop. What about our results? I would like just to share with you that we, based on our estimations, we consider that we closed 2023 achieving a glass recycling rate of 70%. As you know, this is the rate, the target we have for 2025. So we can say that we achieved it 2 years before, but we know that the goals and the targets that we have for 2030 are super ambitious, especially in the case of glass packaging. So we are already working on that, because it's not easy to achieve like 10 more points and 80% of separate collection in 2030. So we are already working on that, and that's why we just approve a new strategic plan for 2030 that I will mention at the end of my presentation. So what about the context about HoReCa sector? And well, I think that I don't have to explain why HoReCa sector is important in Spain. We always say that we are a country of bar and restaurants. Here you have some figures about about HoReCa and its contribution. But what is important is that what I mentioned before is that almost 50% of glass packaging in Spain is consumed in HoReCa. And that's why it's super important, very important for us. And that's why we develop so many plans. We will see them later with them. So knowing this fact, this figure, and based on one of our surveys, we knew that in 2022, 66% of HoReCa establishments recycle glass packaging. So we said, okay, looking forward 2025, we need to design a strategy, this is Ecovidrio's strategy, to improve this target of HoReCa establishments that recycle, because it's very important. HoReCa is a key sector. And if we want to move to this circular economy, and if we want to achieve the objectives in 2025, but then in 2030, we need to move this sector. So we designed this last period that I'm going to talk about it, that comes from 2023 to 2025. And we said, okay, this Ecovidrio strategy is this program focused on HoReCa, which has the main objective of increase the percentage of establishments that recycle glass packaging. And we define an objective for 2025, which is this one you can see here, 76%. This is our objective for 2025 of HoReCa establishment that recycle. And here you have the tons that we estimate we will achieve. And we are talking about targets. Of course, it's very important for us. We are the EPR in charge of that. But we can also talk about the environmental benefits that we will have if we achieve that all this HoReCa sector improve the separate collection in origin and the recycle. And well, these are just some figures about the prevention of raw materials extracted, the savings of energy consumed, and also the prevention of emissions to the atmosphere. Which are the strategic areas where we are going to impact with this Ecovidrio plan? Well, first of it, it's very important, this co-responsibility that I said at the beginning of my presentation. This is not an issue of Ecovidrio. This is not an issue of one part of the chain. It's a co-responsibility of all the stakeholders, and each of us has a paper, something to do. So what we are looking for since some years ago, but we are focusing a lot now, is about municipal regulation, what we call the ordinances, municipal ordinances, to guarantee separate collection at origin. It's fundamental that Horeca establishments, that the professionals from the Horeca sector separate at origin. So we are also working with public authorities in having these ordinances that said in a mandatory way, you have to separate collection in your establishment. And for this, you need a container, and for this, you have to go here to give your packaging waste and whatever it says. But it's important that we have this regulation. So we are trying to foster this regulation that, by the way, it's included in our law. So we have like the national regulation coverture, but now we need that it is included in every municipal regulation. Also, we are saying that it's important to have this open mind. So we have to look for bars and restaurants in the street, in the cities, but we also have to take in consideration bars and restaurants that maybe they are in an airport, in hospitals, in train stations, in wherever. I mean, we need to have this open mind. When we ask public authorities for these ordinances, for this municipal regulation, and we talk about Horeca to separate, we also talk about events. In Spain, as I think it happened in Portugal, festivals, music concerts, whatever, local festivities. These are events, and it's also very important that in events, we also have a correct waste management. So we are trying to also include this issue in the regulation. Second point, what we think it's very important to have a direct impact in the establishment, in the professionals. Also, when we take into consideration that professionals moves very quickly, this rotation that we have in Horeca. So you cannot visit one day, you have like to visit every year and maybe several times. So what we do, and these are some of the impacts that we are planning to develop each year, and we did this split between bigger municipalities and smaller municipalities, but we identify the establishments. What we do is we visit the establishments of Horeca, we tell them that there is a regulation that obliges them to do separate collection. We ask, what do you need to do this? Do you need a container? Do you have a bulk outside, near, far away? Okay, we will bring it for you. Do you need whatever you need? Do you need some kind of formation, education, or whatever to your employees? Whatever you need, and we do this like several times. Then we give the container if they need, and then we come again and said, why are you not doing separate collection? Oh, great, you are doing separate collection. What else do you need? I mean, we do like 3 or 4 times these visits in order to achieve the goal that I mentioned before, to give lots of impacts and lots of moments, different impacts of education, information, and giving this kind of infrastructure to the professionals from Horeca. Number 3 is this regarding infrastructure. we consider is very important and is one of the SKUs that citizens and also Horeca have when they say, no, I don't do separate collection because the container, the bulk in the street is far away. Okay, so we are going to bring it near to you. So we will increase the infrastructure at disposal of the Horeca sector in 19%. And also it's interesting for you to know that here's like a traditional bulk for us. You can see the small place to introduce the bottles, but we have also developed like a big mouth, a big hole for the Horeca sector in order for Horeca professionals to have a better way to introduce all the glass packaging and not bottle to bottle, which is takes a lot of time for them. And there is something also interesting here for you to know, and I know that you are also working on this, and it's what we call the door-to-door collection for Horeca. When we said that the best way to recycle and the most effective way is the bulk, is the green container. And you will find in Spain this green container, and is used by citizens and it's also used by Horeca professionals. But we also develop door-to-door collection for Horeca in some special cases where maybe the container is not the best solution. For example, we can talk about this city center, a historic city center where a truck cannot get inside, or maybe public authorities says, oh, I'm sorry, you cannot put this green bulk container outside because I don't like it. Or maybe there is a very huge generation. Maybe you have some streets with lots of Horeca establishments, and if you implement a door-to-door collection, you really collect lots of glass packaging and it's effective. So there are 59 door-to-door collections for Horeca, as you can see in this slide, that we develop all around Spain in order to collect all this glass packaging consumed in Horeca. Number 4, what is also important for us is data analysis techniques. We develop surveys with the Horeca professionals, as I said before, in order to understand what do you need, what moves you to do separate collection. And we introduce all this data in some programs that we have in order to improve our plans, in order to know where are the municipalities or the places where we have to improve our plans or give more containers, or maybe more educational seminars or whatever to them, no? And also this help us to understand the generation of waste management. So maybe we need more bulks in the street, or maybe we have to reinforce because there is going to be like a local festivity, or also during summer. This help us to measure how many containers, or how many people do we have to expand to collect all this packaging. We will talk about summer events at the end. Alliances, well, this is like, okay, if you have some kind of collaboration with hotel chains, restaurant groups, or franchise, it's interesting because they help us to make some kind of groups of rest of Horeca sector establishments. And this is also interesting, the last one, because we try to move with our team and in collaboration with public authorities. But what we also consider is that it's interesting if some other stakeholders talk about us. So it's not only Ecovidrio that says you have to recycle, you have to do separate collection. So we develop lots of different awareness campaigns, which are some of our main lines of action in Ecovidrio. trying to move Horeca professionals. So that's what we do, for example, with our network ambassadors. I would like to share you just a little piece of a video that we did with some Estrella Michelin restaurants and some of the traditional restaurants in Spain. That means the old ones that are giving this message of it's very important to do glass recycling in your establishment. So I will share it with you right now. And just before the video, just to mention it, you can see here the third bullet point when I say seasonal awareness raising campaigns. As it happens in Portugal, if I'm not wrong, there are some villages where consumption can be double or more during the summer. So we develop a funny but also an important campaign that we call Banderas Verdes, that is like green flags, where we try to move Horeca establishments, but also municipalities. We reinforce all the infrastructure, containers, bulks, collection routes, everything, but also try like to make this funny competition between municipalities. Who is going to be the best municipality recycling this summer? And then we give this green flags to the better ones. So it's some kind of different awareness campaigns that we develop in order to mobilize all of them. So just a second, I will share the small video because I think it's interesting. I will try to do it so you can see it. Tell me if you can hear. Compartir sonido. It's 3 or 4 minutes, but I will share just the beginning. So, can you hear?
¿Quieres descubrir los únicos lugares del mundo donde la sostenibilidad tiene sabor, huele, se puede ver y escuchar?
Senador de Amos es la primera comunidad solar con un modelo pionero de autoconsumo energético. Generamos energía 100% renovable que además compartimos con nuestros vecinos.
La cocina de Pepe Vieira es una cocina conectada a sus raíces. Nos alimentamos de la naturaleza y por lo tanto el respeto hacia el medio natural aquí es absoluto.
OVA se nutre de productores repartidos por toda la comarca de la Manchuela que nos ayudan a conseguir productos únicos, algunos de ellos proyectos de recuperación de especies para conseguir su consumo y con ello su producción.
El Parque Natural de la Zona Volcánica de la Garrocha, donde se encuentra el restaurante L'Escol, es el reflejo de nuestra manera de ser y entender la gastronomía. Nos gusta y siempre hemos querido utilizar producto autóctono.
Well, it's just I give it here. You can see it later, but it's a way to tell them that they can talk about their establishment, they can talk about their tradition, they talk about glass recycling at the end. And in this way, it's not only Ecovidrio who is talking about this, but it's some reference for the Horeca professionals. And just I'm finished with this slide. I told you about the different lines of our strategy. We can have a discussion now, but I will like just to finish with this. As I mentioned at the beginning, we just approved a new strategic plan for 2030, which has the objective of achieving the ambitious recycling and separate collection targets in 2030, because it's important to know that in Spain we have recycling targets, but we also have separate collection targets, and that we have like a national objective, but this target we have also to achieve it in the different regions. So it's super ambitious. And just you to know that, of course, as it has to be, Horeca is going to continue being one of the main strategic lines in our plan looking forward to 2030. We will continue in these ordinances, in this regulation, looking forward a mandatory separate collection in origin. We will continue to expand when it's justified this door-to-door Horeca collection, and we will continue to move or trying to move Horeca professionals with our awareness and mobilization campaigns. And if you want more details about this Ecovidrio's plan, it's in Spanish, but you have it here in this QR code. You can see it later on. And that's all. Thank you very much. I hope this information is useful for you. And please go ahead if you have any questions for me. It will be a pleasure.
Gracias, gracias. Very useful. Yes, for sure. I see very, very common initiatives. Looking for some of from the slides you shared, I see that there are some initiatives they are very similar to what we are doing. I think some are really great insights and probably some inspiration for us. But I will leave the floor to our team, and I will ask first who wants to start with one question. I hope we have a few ones to do. So please go ahead, and if you have one question, please feel free to do it. I think Sandra, we can do it in English or in Portuñol. I think you will quite understand us.
Portuñol, slowly Portuñol is okay for me.
Slow, ok. Alguém que queira avançar por uma pergunta? João Pedro Rodrigues, da Companhia de Engineering, força. Não devia deixá-lo falar, porque não pôs o nome da entidade à frente, mas tem aí o logo, já é suficiente.
Talvez pela imagem fosse mais ou menos perceptível de onde é que eu venho. Bom
dia,
dia.
Sim, senhor.
Bom dia a todos. Thank you very much, Sandra, for your presentation. I will try to do it in English probably because I cannot speak Portuguese slowly. Also, I cannot speak English slowly, so I cannot speak slowly, period. Thank you very much for your presentation. I had one of the doubts that I have two questions. I don't know if I have the space to ask both, but like in those, so I will try to do if you have the time, please answer me. So the first question is relating to the. Can you share with us what is more or less, as you can imagine, these visits to the Horecas, so the 120,000 Horecas that you visit 3 or 4 times a year, that must take a huge effort in terms of the team involved on it. Can you please give us a little bit more detail? How is this organized? Is it a team that is managed by you directly or not? How many persons are involved? Is this running all year round? I think so, but probably more concentrated on the summertime. So could you please elaborate a little bit more on this question? A second topic would be, if Nuno will allow me, regarding the. So you said that I don't know exactly the figure, but 70%.
Sorry, let's like this. If you agree, let's hold for this first question and then. All the second question, then if we have time, I'll jump back to you again, okay? And then Sandra will not forget the questions.
Okay, thank you, Joao, for your question. Yes, well, regarding visits, it's a huge issue. It depends, as everything, but normally, what we do, we need more or less 6-8 months for these 3-4 visits. Because you visit and then you let them like 3 weeks or 4, and then you come again, and then you live like 2 months, and then you come out. So more or less, we foster the visits or the plans in summertime, but we do it all around the year because it's important that they do. Also, Christmas time is very important for us. So we develop all around the year. We do it with the help of an agency, what we call these environmental professionals, educadores ambientales. So normally we try to do it hand by hand with the municipalities. So we pay for this people, for the agency, for the environmental awareness people, but they go in name of the municipality. Hello, I'm coming from as you may know, there is an ordinance or a regulation in the municipality. So they try to figure that it's not Ecovidrio, that is coming from the main whole, the municipality. Also because normally when we present this to the municipality, it makes no sense that you go to the Horeca establishment just talking about glass packaging, because they generate lots of bio-waste, they generate all other kind of waste. So just when they go, they talk about glass packaging, but they also talk about bio-waste, and they also talk about like packaging and blah, blah, blah. So we try to say, okay, general director of the municipality, we will pay for it, but we focus on glass, and okay, we talk about other issues, other waste management. And honestly, I don't know, but if it is important for you, I can say, okay, for example, for 2024, we have like, I don't know, I'm not sure if it's 20, 40, or how many people in the agency to help us. But what we do is identify the municipalities where we consider we are going to have more generation. And what we do is to visit them every year, because due to this rotation in Horeca sector, who does separate collection is not the owner of the restaurant, is the employee. So if the employee change, it's important that you visit again and again. I don't know if this is the details you need. If you need more details, of course, I didn't say it before, but Nuno, you can share my email with all the people today in the webinar. And if you have like a detailed question or you need more information, I'm open to also to ask to my colleagues, because my colleagues in charge of these Horeca plans knows everything about it, so I can give you whatever you need.
Gracias, Sandra. Vou colocar aqui no chat o seu e-mail, Sandra, então, tá bem? I will add to the chat of Zoom your email address.
Okay.
Cheers. So just before I jump to João Pedro again, Mark Lavita from Sociedade Ponto Verde.
Yes, hi, good morning. I would like to ask regarding the regulation, which seems to be very important in this case for the establishments to be willing to separate. How did you articulate with all the municipalities of Spain to implement the same kind of regulation, or was it municipality to municipality? You had to talk to each one of them in order for them to implement this regulation? Like, how did you work this out?
Okay, so what we do is, well, what we are doing is giving education and formation on this, because the law, the Spanish law, and also the packaging regulation in Spain says that citizens and Horeca sectors are obliged to separate in origin, to do separate collection. So that's very good, because everywhere we go, we can say, no, it's the law, it's not me, it's the law, or it's the regulation, or it's whatever. So we have this kind of coverture. But then what it happens that as we have these three levels of public authorities or level of administration, it's like the government, national, then the comunidades autónomas, and then the municipality. Although it's mandatory, and in legal terms, we do not need that the municipal regulation says the same that the national law is saying. But it happens that finally, if it's not included in the municipal ordinance, it doesn't work. So, okay, we are trying to foster. How we foster? We are trying to visit. When we do this other kind of visits, or when we have a meeting for other reasons, I mean, it's not only a meeting for this, we are like sending this message to everybody. Like, have you, do you have an ordinance? Have you this regulation on this? Because it's the clue, is the main issue, not only for glass packaging, also for light packaging, for bio waste, for all the municipality waste. And we are giving some kind of webinars or present face-to-face seminars to the municipalities, because they have lots of things to do to foster these ideas. And it's in our main discussion. We always are talking about this. But then we support ourselves in something that I think is very useful, is that the Spanish Federation of Provinces and Municipalities, la Federación Española de Municipios, they have developed like a proposal of ordinance of municipal regulations, where they have written down all the articles that the law and the packaging regulation says. They have written that down, it in a paper. Well, so if a municipality want, they can copy paste and do and say, this is mine. And they have everything included in that is for waste management. It doesn't happen because finally a municipality has like to adapt a little bit. But it's a good way, I mean, not to begin to write in a white paper that is very difficult. You can use this like a reference. So this is very useful. Also, it's useful for us to foster it and to talk about this, but it's very useful for municipalities. So having said that, after 2.5 years since the law was approved in April 2023, it's like only 5% of the Spanish municipalities have, only 5% of municipalities have the municipal regulation. So it takes lots of time and also political voluntad, like disposal to do this. Because it's not easy, I know, I understand. It's not easy for a authority to oblige their citizens, the people who is going to make a vote, and also the HoReCa sector to say, you have to do this inside your home, or you have to do this inside your establishment. It's not easy, but we really think that is the only way to move forward in municipality waste management. Not for glass, I mean in general terms, because if it's not mandatory, there are still some people that they don't want to recycle. And we said we have good targets, 7 to 10 glass packaging is already recycling in Spain. Okay, that's great. But there are still 3 to 10 glass packaging that is in the mixed waste, in the gray bag. So I don't know if I answered your question. I hope so.
Yes, thank you.
So anyone else to make a question? So I will hold a few more minutes, but then João Pedro, go ahead with your second question, please.
Okay, thank you very much. So because I have only space for one more, I will ask a very big one. Okay. Okay. No, just you said in the beginning of your presentation that Ecovidrio is directly responsible, operationally speaking, for 60%. In 60% of the municipalities, you are directly responsible for the collection of the waste, of the glass waste. So I'm sure that is also the case for HoReCa. The HoReCa involved in those municipalities are directly collected by you. That's just, of course. The question is the following. On the other 40%, probably the municipalities are there responsible for the collection there. So do you use, I'm sure, just to confirm, do you use the KPIs of costs collection and efficiency collection from your own direct operations in order to forecast what should be due on when other parties like the municipalities are directly responsible? Do you do so? Is that a simple process? Can you elaborate a little bit on that relationship with the other municipality partners when they are responsible for the collection?
It's quite similar in terms of how much it costs, or how much it should cost, or how you should develop a plan, especially because it's a door-to-door, or it's an awareness campaign, or it's whatever. It's quite similar. It is not referred to what if we do direct collection or if we finance. It's more due to general terms. I think that we have to adapt to the necessities of each municipality, but there are a lot of ideas already designed. So we have to talk to each other and try to implement in different places. But of course, our experience in terms of direct management helps us a lot to better understand the best solutions for each problem, if we can call them like a problem. And of course, we try to share this information with the municipalities and say, based on our direct experience, we consider that this is a best practice or this is not, or would you like that we prove whatever. So yes, of course, it's also a way of trust. When we develop this direct management, municipalities in some way forget about this. Okay, Ecovidrio is in charge of this, and there is not a discussion about costs, because they are paid the waste management, the collector. But the best practice we have in direct management, of course, we try to implement them in other cases.
Thank you, Sandra. Now I pass to Beatriz from AIVE.
Hi, Sandra. Thanks a lot. I think it was very good, your presentation. Very, very good information for lots of people here that are not so into the working of Ecovidrio. And of course, for us, you are an example that we would like to follow as much as possible. But there's probably you understand, we have not exactly the same legal position in Portugal. So we won't be able to do as much as you do in the same way, unfortunately. But I'm very curious in this, something that I was always curious. In a way, you already answered. But how do you really convince the municipalities to say, okay, I won't do it, you just do it, because now you have you're already 60% on your own, you collect it, you take care of everything. So at the end, how do you convince the municipality? So you just go there and you say what? I can do this for X person. You do it or I do it. It's this kind of thing. It's different. I've always feel curious about this way of bringing the municipalities to say, okay, I won't do it. You do it, please.
Well, this is not something that changes every year or each time we have a new authorization or an agreement. No, this is something that it happens I don't know, many years ago, 20 years ago, we said to ourselves, what happened if we offer this and it doesn't really change in number since we start to offer this? So maybe we are gaining, adding some new ones, but it's the same 60% since we start to do it. Just you to know that it's something that is established. And yes, we arrived there and said, would you like that we take this in charge so you disconnect from glass packaging and you don't have to the public tender, you have to follow the collection, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say, no. You know what, that I have to do the public tender for BOAs, for light packaging, for blah, blah, blah. So I prefer to do it, but okay. So it's like an open offer and it's okay. And it's also important for you to know, for example, in Catalonia, they do it by themselves and they do it very well. So, in fact, they are one of the region with the better results. So we say nothing. You do it very well. you are an authority that is involved, that is looking for these ordinances, that you are interested in glass management. So we say nothing. In other places where maybe the results are bad, or they don't really say yes to a plan because they are like slowly or whatever, we said, please, would you like that we take this in charge? Because maybe as you have lots of things to do, but I'm just focused on glass packaging, maybe I can focus more on this, and we can gain better results. And sometimes they give us, so we are like adding new ones slow by slow, but only when it's justified. They do it well, we say nothing. And it's very, very strange that they try to recuperate and say, no, not anymore. This never happened. And that is like an open offer. If they want, it's a pleasure for us. If not, it doesn't matter.
Thank you, Sandra. I think so. We'll need to choose another country for the second webinar, but instead we will choose Catalonia to bring their good practices for us to learn. So we are reaching our limit. So I think so. It's really very interactive. Let's take just more 5 minutes. I don't know if anyone else has any additional question. So Sandra, I saw that you already shared here in the Zoom your address. So thank you very much for that. Also, I'll make some before I see Katarina. So Katarina, just wait 1 minute or half a minute just to share. Also, I will put in the chat the LinkedIn from Plataforma Vidro. It will be really great for you to have them to follow. Okay, so everything that we are doing, and even this webinar will publish there. And additionally, we have some guests outside Vidro that they are not members. So we invite you also to become a member of our platform. Okay, so you have my email address and you can share with us your willing. Okay, Katarina, go ahead from Smart Waste Portugal.
Thank you, Sandra, for your inspiring presentation. In Portugal, the recycling rate of the glass packaging of the Horeca channel is really low, I think around 35 or 40%. What do you think would be the main driver to try to change this reality, the behavior of this channel? Some advice about where we can start.
Okay, I will say three things. Awareness campaigns, information. Sometimes they do not know that they have to do it, and it's important for them, and they have other obligations for other ways, for other things like desperdicio alimentario. How do you say this food waste? So it's like they have to do it. So in some ways, like, you are going to be a more sustainable restaurant if you do waste management. So awareness campaigns or information. Second one is containers. They need a space and a container to put the things inside and then go outside to the street and do whatever. But they need a space, they need infrastructure, they need a container inside, and they need that the bulk is not far away. They need like in the door. And third, I will say the regulation, because if it is not mandatory separate collection, some of them voluntary maybe, and at the beginning, yes, they do. At the beginning, I mean at the beginning when you start with this. But when you reach, for example, for us, it's very difficult for citizens and for Horeca sector. If it's not mandatory, there are these 3 to 10 that no. So these three things I would say that are the main ones for them.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. So, any more questions? No, so I'll make a final, and I will ask you, Sandra, to try to be short in the answer. We just focus in Eureka. Do you have any insight that you can give us from the households collection? Anything that can be a good initiative, something that you are working on it, or you are just very focused on Eureka?
No. In fact, we are very focused on Eureka, but now we are very focused also in citizens because since COVID, Eureka sector has not recuperated, so there are a big consumption at home. So we are also focusing in citizens, in household, and we are trying also to develop similar initiatives, as I mentioned. For example, ordinances regulation is the big one. And we are trying to do like micro activities with citizens that are not going to give us huge amounts of tons, but maybe small quantities, but every tone is important. We are working, for example, in this artificial intelligence and mathematics analysis, trying to understand the best solutions for different, not municipalities, but inside a municipality. This maybe it's very interesting also for you to tell you in another webinar, because we are using the data that we have from these 60% of municipalities where we have the data immediately, trying to make like a mirror area where it could happen that if this works here, it could work also here, because they need more bulbs, they need more information, they have like, I don't know, a new residential area where there is not a good implementation of bulbs, whatever. And we are also trying to, what it happens also to us is in the small city centers of the cities where a truck cannot get inside, or it also happens a lot of municipalities that says your bulk is very ugly and make some kind of distortion to the historic places that we have here, or maybe it's taking the floor for a parking station that have some kind of money for them, because you have to pay to park. So they said, no bulbs, no blah, blah, blah. So, okay. So we said, okay, no bulbs, but small bulbs, like a papelera, like the small ones you have in the street for whatever, ones specialized and only for glass packaging. Or maybe we have to develop like a door-to-door collection for citizens that we don't like, really, we don't consider are the best option. But maybe in some places we have to do it because there are not other alternatives. So we have like a short list, but not so short. We have like some kind of initiatives also focuses on citizens that are very interesting. And of course, a pleasure to share it with you in another time, if you want.
Yes, Sandra, for sure. We'll invite you for the future webinar. We were planning to not only do benchmarking in other countries, but we are planning to have one specific for digitalization in glass collection. So I think can make sense also to invite you again and share this specific example.
Of course, I will ask my colleague Gonzalo. He's the expert and director for this strategy in this digitalization, and we can fix for him to present you all our plans.
Okay, very good. Okay, so no more questions. So Sandra, if you allow me, I will challenge the members to send emails to Sandra if you have any question unanswered. And it was really a pleasure. Muchísimas gracias, Sandra. It was really nice.
It's a pleasure. I'm sending to you the presentation, so you can share with all of you. Okay?
Yes. We will do it. Okay. So to everyone, very very thanks for being here. Have a very good weekend and see you soon. So the next webinar will be planned for January, February, so the first quarter for next year. And I hope you'll be there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sandra.
Thanks, Sandra.
Bye.
Bye.